Revenue was flat to declining. You guys went to bed one day and woke up. You had so much revenue. What happened that night?
For a while, we'd been stuck on like $800 in MRR, and a creator actually organically made a video about answer this, and it went viral. My unique ability lies in just, first of all, having a deep background in research myself, but then actually creating something that solves a very deep-rooted problem for researchers. Being extremely close friends, brothers, will always supersede all the other relationships that we have together. I don't think shitty products with great distribution are going to win in the future.
Do you do sales and your co-founder does tech, or are both of you guys technical and both of you guys doing sales? Like, how do you guys communicate between one another? Hello, everyone. Welcome to No Fixed Route. Today I'm here with Ayush.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. We've been trying to do this podcast for at least a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think it's been like 5 or 6 weeks since we've been trying to align our schedules now.
Yeah, it's just the weather here has been terrible, and one drop of rain and Zoox just stopped working. They need to get extra LiDAR or something. I don't know what the hell's going on. But weather's been amazing this week. Excited to have you on. Folks that don't know you, you are a founder of a company called Answer This.
Yep.
And the way I like to describe the problem that you're in is today, research scientists spend a lot of time figuring out what else has been done, whether they want to use it for their own research or if they want to replicate it or whatever. Spend so much time finding articles, just like searching it on Google isn't working, ChatGPT isn't working either. So what you do is you index all these data sources and give researchers all the context that they need when writing their paper. Did I describe it well?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's a very, very good summary. And actually, the problem is twofold. Definitely, the search problem exists. Scientists spend right now around 60% of their time before starting a new research project, just discovering what else is done. This part of the problem is called the literature review. And the process is extremely manual, extremely iterative. Even with the advent of GPT, the process hasn't really evolved too much. But then the second problem is, even after the search, currently they work across 6 different tabs, from searching the papers to actually creating diagrams, writing their final reports. And we're bringing all of that within one centralized collaborative system of record. So scientists finally have a replacement for what VS Code does for developers.
That makes sense. Awesome. There's this one pivotal night in your history, and I think it's very interesting. The way that you described it to me was that, revenue was flat to declining, and you guys went to bed one day and woke up, emails from Stripe. You had so much revenue that you thought Stripe were broken. I think the way you described it to me was that you thought someone hacked you and put money into your bank account.
Yes.
What happened that night?
Yeah, that is so funny because for a while we'd been stuck on like $800 in MRR, and we had been trying our best to get the revenue to go higher and higher. And then I sleep, and around 3 a.m. my phone won't stop buzzing because I was so excited about revenue at that point that I had a new email go out to me every single time someone subscribed. Now we actually had to turn it off because otherwise my email inbox would be full. But a creator in our space who's the biggest scientist making videos on the internet about research tools actually organically made a video about answer this, and it went viral. And we had tons and tons of people come and sign up on the platform and start paying us. So for a while we thought everything was broken, someone was trying to hack us. But very quickly we find out that no, it's actually a creator making a video about us, after which our growth strategy completely changes, and creator-led marketing becomes one of the first things that we try and actually starts to work out, which took us from, zero to $600,000 in ARR.
That's insane. Would you say go-to-market is your strong suit? Like, if I compared you to a bunch of other founders, is go-to-market your unique ability or something that you know that many of your other competitors or peers don't know?
I think in the B2C space, distribution alpha is now becoming pretty standardized. Every founder in the B2C space who's at least semi-good, I think, knows the major distribution channels that even we are operating towards. My unique ability lies in just, first of all, having a deep background in research myself, but then actually creating something that solves a very deep-rooted problem for researchers. because more and more I see the shift towards founders only talking about distribution and treating, growth that is very well not viral as viral growth. So there's a common misconception where your app is growing a lot because you're pushing out a lot of creator-led videos and doing a lot of ads, and they call it viral marketing. It's not really viral marketing. What is viral is if one user starts to bring like two, three, or four of those users. But my biggest strength is definitely like developing this mindset for what actually matters for the end customers. And then more and more, the focus has been on actually creating this real virality in one user bringing multiple other users themselves.
That makes a lot of sense to me. There's a lot of, especially in Silicon Valley, people think distribution is king. In many ways, it is. Especially today with AI, really anyone can replicate anything.
Yeah.
Do you own your distribution channels? Do you have some kind of unique way that you reach your customers? Are a lot of interesting things that people say. So, in your mind, would you say product is still, the thing that many companies should think about a lot, or distribution right up there with them? Even shittier products with great distribution might win in the future compared to great products with terrible distribution.
Yeah, I don't think shitty products with great distribution are going to win in the future, mainly because as much as product is becoming commoditized, distribution is following the same trend. If not right now, and then in a couple of months, everyone is going to know the alpha behind what is actually like a good cost per acquiring customer. So you need to ultimately retain users. If you're
Gotcha.
not retaining users, then your CAC to LTV ratio is going to completely break. Like at the end of the day, there's a very true saying in the market, which is the best products always win. And I think it still holds true. If you're able to retain your users for a very, very long time by having a good product, then ultimately you can spend a lot more in acquiring a particular customer, which means even if your distribution is not the most efficient, you can go ahead and just spend a lot to win the entire market, which is ultimately what is going to cause you to win the market in the first place. So great products in this case will still continue owning the entire market versus shitty products with like good distribution. And I think, we've seen Cluely as being an example of this. They went all in with distribution and then very quickly found out that, well, product is still the king. And now they're finding out the strategy to iterate on the product to fit this, usual thought that we've had for a long time.
That makes sense. I wonder how Cluely's doing. I think when we saw the news that they were moving to New York, I was like, something definitely must not be going well at Cluely if they're leaving San Francisco. But that makes a lot of sense. I know you guys did YC. What batch of YC were you guys in?
The last one, so fall 2025.
Gotcha. There are a lot of AI companies in YC. At the same time, OpenAI is releasing a lot of things from an outsider, seems like is going to kill a lot of YC companies. And from first glance, I feel like your company falls into this category. Do you feel fear around OpenAI being able to really win in this category and own all research, especially because they do research themselves? Or, will you guys compete with them? Or even if they launch a product similar to yours, does it really not matter?
There's two sides to this. One is like they can definitely release a product identical to ours today. The question is, will they? I don't think so, because it is not in their core business model to verticalize in the research space. They're creating a general chat model. That's their entire business. And there's a lot of specialization that you need to do in your product to actually serve researchers really well. But the second part to this is, let's say they do create something that is extremely similar to us. We will still win in our particular market on two different fronts. First is distribution. Once you integrate within a university or a lab, it's very difficult to pull yourself out. That's exactly what we're going after, extremely deep-rooted verticalization within research spaces. But second, let's say they do take over the surface level market. Our startup is lean enough where we can always just continue specializing. So they take the B2C research space, that's fine. We will just pick, biopharma, one of the biggest segments we're growing in, and then completely start building out solutions in that space. So as with all early stage startups, you're always lean enough to be able to adapt. And if your solution is just a feature that can be replicated by OpenAI anyways, like I don't think there's a big point in working on that problem.
That makes a lot of sense. I think there's a history of big companies failing at going after verticals. I know Google tried to go after, the restaurant review system. They kind of succeeded with Google Maps later on. They tried to go after socials. They tried to go after all these verticals that were built on top of Google and ended up retreating. There's a Sequoia investor, I'm forgetting her name, who built something that Google was about to cannibalize. And turns out if you're a big company that specializes in search, you're going to be terrible at, listening to customers in 100 different verticals that you can get into. And I think OpenAI will fall into something similar. Yes, they're building a great model. Will they be best at all these verticals on top of it? Probably not.
Yeah, and one thing that works very well for us is we actually have investors from OpenAI as well as Google. So that clearly plays on, I think, the long-term mentality that a lot of people in this space have, which is getting labs is very difficult. It's notoriously difficult, but once you get labs, there's a lot of points of providing value to them that you continue unlocking as you go deeper and deeper. And that level of specialization in the research space alone requires a lot of time and energy that is not in the best interest of big model companies to figure out right now. But even if they do, again, like it's the leanness of our team that sort of enables us to move very quickly if that happens.
That makes sense. So a product like yours is obviously being used by the end researcher. In order to get the researcher, there's 2 different paths you can go. You can go after, chasing the researcher directly, product-led growth, and then trickle your way up an organization. Or you can do sales first, find the organization, shove it down the throats of the researchers. Which path have you guys chosen? And do you think early stage startups could do both at the same time?
In my opinion, you should always try both. At first, you should try everything to see what is sticking. You normally don't have the idea of what is actually going to work before trying it out. In our case, we did actually try both as well. We tried top-down sales as well as bottoms-up. And bottoms-up for us works amazingly. So that's what we're following right now. We get individual researchers and then very quickly find a decision maker within their lab and then go capture the entirety of their lab from that point and, grow from one lab to multiple labs and then the entire organization.
That makes sense. Can you walk me through the strategy there? Like, how does one go? Because it's unclear in my mind how one goes from bottoms up. If you get all of the researchers, that doesn't mean the director or the CIO is a researcher themselves. How do they hear about it? And how do you encourage the researchers to go up the stack to tell the person to get an enterprise?
Yeah, I mean, you always have to play these games, right? Whether it's top down or bottoms up, it's still sales. So we play the sales games.
Can we go deeper? Like, what exactly are you telling these folks?
Yeah. Well, you have to incentivize your users to get on a call with you, especially after you recognize that they're a user who could be of particular interest, especially with their organization. Then we try our best to try to reach out to them personally, see their usage, and then reach out with a message that just convinces them to get on a call and build a relationship. After that point, then you have to convince them to introduce you to the decision maker. The best thing is if the decision maker is the one who's signing up to the product yourself. And the trick here is if you're using, let's say, Meta for user acquisition, then you optimize your pixel for getting these decision makers and you assign a higher, reward value for getting these type of users instead. But in either case, that's where you have to play the sales games and convincing them to introduce you to the decision maker, whoever is the decision maker in their laboratory. And ideally your product is good enough or great enough that they're internally incentivized to make that change happen. So if you're unlocking like a 50x productivity for them, then it's very obvious that they would want their entire organization to onboard the solution so that everyone moves faster.
That makes sense.
And this is how you just develop champions. Your product has to be really, really good, but then you just have to convince them to connect you with the folks who can then make the decision to introduce the solution to the entirety of the organization itself.
Are there examples of startups that have done this really, really well?
Let's see.
I guess like Linear. Figma.
Figma is a very good example. Linear is another very good example. Canva is one that we particularly model after. They did especially amazing in like capturing the entire market and then establishing like extremely deep contracts with the parent companies that the users were from. And if bottoms up sales actually ends up working for your startup, it's one of the best case scenarios, because the CAC ultimately ends up being extremely optimized because you make money on both the customer side of things and also the enterprise business.
That makes a lot of sense. Are you guys mostly focused on this bottom-up motion right now? Is that all you guys think about, or are there other things in your 2026 plan?
Yeah, that's the classic sales versus product question, right?
Yeah.
I actually thought about this a lot, like what to focus on, whether it's product or it's sales. The answer is you have to do both. And this is especially something that we learned during Y Combinator when I went to my partner, Andrew Miklas, and asked the same question. Well, do we focus on scaling our sales or the product? You always have to be doing both at the same time. And the best case scenario is if one feeds the other. Ideally, you set up your sales process in such a way that you're collecting feedback, then is given to the product team, which makes the product better, which leads to more sales. And that's something that we're modeling internally as well. Currently, it's just the two of us, me and my co-founder. So this works especially well where, he's always talking to customers like day in and day out. So am I. And then at the end of the day, we discuss feedback that ultimately goes back into the product, ideally on the same day itself. And we keep the cycle extremely tight.
That makes sense. Can you tell us how sales communicates with tech? Like, do you do sales and your co-founder does tech, or are both of you guys technical and both of you guys doing sales? Like, how do you guys communicate between one another?
Yeah, I think we're in like a very special time and also a very special company where we're doing both sales as well as product led growth, and at the same time really advancing our tech while only having two people. So I take care of the very like high end sales as well as the product, and then my co-founder does the product led marketing, all the B2C marketing that we're doing, and also the basic sales infrastructure. That model works especially well because his main output is optimization of how many people are going into the funnel and how many leads is that driving towards me. And then my function is really simple, which is how effectively can I convert these leads into sales and how long can I keep them. So I think also having this function that one can always optimize is like especially great for driving long-term productivity because then you can quantify the output of each person. And both me and my co-founder are like working tirelessly every day to continue optimizing the metrics that we care about for our side of the business.
Do you guys compete with one another? And I asked this because I had a very recent conversation with my co-founder Maurice, where I'm responsible for top of funnel growth. He's responsible for conversion, and I kind of see him as my enemy. Like I want to make him suffer by drowning him in leads. And he kind of is playing defense by clearing out the pipeline, making sure that I can always dump more people in. Do you guys have this like competitive spirit with one another where you're like trying to stress him out or he's trying to stress you out, or is it very collaborative?
No, I think there's always competition, and that's the way it should be. We are extremely competitive with one another in almost the same way as like a sports team works, where like the players in a same team are always trying to push each other. I mean, we both want to be responsible for as much ARR as we can possibly create, but at the same time, there's always instances where we have to regroup, and then it's like us versus X, where the X can be like an organization that we're trying to sell to or a particular super difficult problem that we're trying to tackle. So we always have these mental models, and have got really, really good at like thinking about what is like a us versus X scenario and what's a me versus him scenario.
Can you give examples of each?
Yeah, definitely. So in day to day, like one I think really important function is how efficiently are you spending your day. That's definitely a me versus him scenario where like I'm sort of auditing every single minute of how I spend my day, and so does he. And at the end of the day, we're seeing like who is leading into more productive end results. But at the same time, especially when we're tackling university deals, it's always an us versus them scenario, because we are also limited in the team size that we have. So oftentimes for these like super super large deals that we're doing, we'll often divide the work on the same deal itself so that both of us also share context on what's happening with those extremely large contracts, where then it becomes like an us versus them scenario. And we also think about game theory a lot in this case, because it's not always that we are trying to win against them, but creating incentives that ultimately leave both us and them in like a better off spot than we started off with. So that's another thing that we think like really deeply about. What is the incentives for us? What is the incentives for the other person that we're trying to sell to? And like, how do we walk out of the situation having led to like better growth on our side and better growth on their side?
Gotcha. That makes sense. Are you friends with your co-founder? Like, are you guys living together and everything, or?
Yeah, best friends. We were actually best friends since before we started the startup. Very funny
Awesome.
story. I don't know if people would like perceive me as such. I guess if you know me well enough, you maybe would. But him and I were actually part of the same fraternity in college for the first year, and then we dropped the fraternity together to start businesses. So started multiple businesses. This is not the first one, but this is the first one that ended up becoming super big. But we've been best friends throughout that entire process, and I think that relationship of us being extremely close friends, brothers, will always supersede all the other relationships that we have together, especially as co-founders or as colleagues.
We're same exact boat with Maurice as well. It's great to be friends before you start anything. Definitely makes things easier. What do you guys like to do when you're not working? You guys hanging out? I think you said you guys like hiking or something.
Yeah, we hike, try to hike every weekend.
Awesome.
That's been largely off for the past couple of weeks because, end of the year is the best time to build out your sales infrastructure. So, really been super focused on that. But we both love music. We'll go to concerts together.
What kind of
We'll
music do you
hike
like?
together. House music.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I actually think house music has been like pivotal in my journey for becoming like a super good founder, because it's just those super high frequency, uh, I don't know,
Like
just
it
super
tunes
high
your mind.
frequency tunes just tunes your
Yeah.
mind, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like scientifically true or not. Maybe I'll like search papers for what's the effect of like
Someone
high
needs to do this.
frequency music, but I just love being logged in, listening to house music, and then like pumping out one feature after the other.
That was me all day today. Awesome.
Who's been your favorite recent artist?
Uh, that's a great question. So I'm the kind of person that listens to tracks instead of artists. Zoo has been on my playlist over and over and over again. Huge fan of that guy. Who else do I listen to? I mean, Avicii has been my favorite for a very
John
long time.
Summit in there, recent ones.
I hot take. I'm not a huge fan.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
fair enough. I
I think
actually
it's
went to a concert recently.
how was it?
Banger, yeah.
Yo, we got to go to EDC in Vegas.
Yeah,
If
we
you're
have to.
interested,
We
everyone
have
like
to.
fly out. I think tickets are pretty like sold out at the moment, but um, if we can get some tickets, we should
Yeah,
go
I'm
and party as a
surprised
whole
more
gang.
founders don't listen to house music, because
Yeah, to be honest, like a lot of founders that I've met do listen to house music. But I don't know. I guess it's like two party vibes, and people want to give the perception that they're indoors hacking instead of out partying. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. I have this very hot take, which is when I'm resetting, like I like hard resets. So I always like to divide like my life into these super long periods of being extremely logged in. But then when I'm taking a rest, it's not a gradual like everyday reset, but just like extremely outside of work. So if I'm not working, I'm not thinking about work. And usually I'm like engrossed in whatever I'm doing at the moment. So if it's hiking,
Incoming call from
Hi, everyone.
support.
All right.
Support on the recorded line. I do apologize for the inconvenience, but it looks like the rest of the street is blocked off.
Okay.
I'm gonna see about reaching out to the team to see if we can get you dropped off here, if that's okay with you.
That's
Would
cool.
that be an option? Doesn't look like we're gonna be able to proceed forward.
Yeah. So yeah, you can just let us out here.
Give me a quick second. I'm gonna see about just making sure that we are able to do that. So I'm going to put you on a brief hold, and I'll get right back to you, okay? So please remain seated and buckled, and I'll get right back to you guys, okay?
Sounds good. All right. Well, I guess we got to wrap it here.
Yeah.
I just want to show the people what's going on outside.